Hey guys, it's DBL. If you've played top lane before, you've likely played against Darius, which is one of the most frustrating champions to play against. His laning phase is impeccably strong, which can lead to you dying over and over again. Once he has a lead, he can carry teamfights by resetting non-stop with his ultimate. With that in mind, let's get into the guide, and as usual, there are timestamps below. Darius' passive has two parts. The first is Hemorrhage. Basic attacks and damaging abilities cause the target to bleed. This bleed does physical damage over time and it can stack up to 5 times. Once Darius applies 5 stacks of Hemorrhage or kills an enemy with his ultimate, it will grant Noxian Might for 5 seconds. Noxian Might grants Darius bonus attack damage based on your level, and once you auto attack, it will apply 5 stacks of Hemorrhage to the enemy. If you deal damage during Noxian Might via an auto attack or a spell, you will refresh the cooldown. Darius' Q is Decimate. After a short delay, Darius swings his axe around him, dealing physical damage. This swing has an outer and inner ring. When hit with the inner ring, it will do 35% less damage and does not apply your passive. When hit with the outer ring, it will apply your passive and heal you for 15 to 45% of missing health, depending on how many champions you hit. You will also not be able to cast spells or auto attacks while using your Q. Darius' W is Crippling Strike. Darius' next basic attack will be an unstoppable auto attack and grant 25 bonus range. It will deal bonus physical damage and also slow the enemy for 90%. If it kills the target, it will refund half the cooldown of the ability and refund its mana cost. The ability will also reset your auto attack timer. This ability in conjunction with your passive is what makes it so difficult to deal with Darius early in the game. You can control the wave better with this ability and make it very easy to stack your Noxian Might. Darius' E is Apprehend. Passively, Darius gains armor penetration. When activated, Darius pulls in enemies in front of him, slowing them briefly and gaining sight of the area of the pull. Darius will attempt a basic attack after the pull has been casted. This ability makes it difficult to escape Darius, and you are able to pull enemies over small walls. So for example, while doing Baron, you can pull an enemy over the wall while waiting to try and steal. Darius' ultimate is Noxian Guillotine. He leaps into the air to execute an enemy champion. He deals true damage, which is based on how many stacks of your passive he has on the enemy. If Darius kills an enemy with the ult, he causes all nearby minions and monsters to flee for 3 seconds, while also being slowed. He's able to recast the ability within 20 seconds of the initial cast, with no additional mana cost. Once your ultimate reaches rank 3, it no longer has a mana cost and completely resets the cooldown if the target is killed. This ability doesn't go on cooldown or consumes mana if the cast of the ultimate is interrupted. You can buffer the cast of your ultimate, so that it means if you press the ultimate key first and then flash, rather than having to flash into range of the ult. Runes on Darius stay pretty much the same every game. You want to take Conqueror as your main keystone. It works great with your passive and the sustained damage you are going to put out on Darius, and there isn't a healthy alternative. After that, take Triumphs as it will help you reset your ultimate, then choose between Legend Tenacity or Legend Alacrity. Choose Tenacity if the enemy has a lot of CC, and Alacrity if the enemy have none at all. Finally, choose Last Stand, as Darius always takes damage before he gets to the range of the enemy, because he doesn't have any gap closers, so you always benefit from the rune. For your secondary, I nearly always take Sorcery second with Nimbus Cloak and Celerity. This gives Darius the bonus move speed he needs to get on the enemy and kill them. Your build is pretty standard on Darius as well. You want to start Doran's Blade. It allows you to win lane very hard and go toe-to-toe with the enemy. In addition, Darius benefits greatly from the additional attack damage. Alternatively, you can go Doran's Shield, but I would only recommend that against range or poke champions because of your lack of a gap closer. For your first item, you would always want to go Trinity Force. It gives Darius so many great stats and works well with his kit. Also, Darius has armor penetration built into his kit, so there's no need for a Black Cleaver. The order of Triforce components you want to go is Phage into Stinger into Sheen. Phage is the most important component, so you can get kited less. However, you can mix and match the last 2 items if you want to. After that, your build opens up a little bit, but let's try and run through a few of the options you can choose from. Dead Man's Plate has great synergy with Darius, as it makes it a lot harder to run away from him and provides good stats. You should build this if your enemy has a lot of AD. Similarly, Spirit Visage is great against a lot of magic damage, and synergizes great with the heal on your Q. Hysterics Gauge synergizes greatly with Trinity Force pickup, and the shield is really useful for dealing with high damage carries. Another item you can consider is Death Stance, however I'd only recommend building this if you are extremely far ahead. Usually I will build Dead Man's Plate into Spirit Visage every game, but sometimes I will skip Hysterics or Death Stance. Other great item choices include Randuin's Omen, Adaptive Helm, Guardian Angel, and Gargoyle Stoneplate. This will of course depend on the situation of your game, and it's up to you to decide when you need them. For your skill order on Darius, you usually want to start W level 1. With this strategy, you can wait in either Tribush or River Brush, depending on which side you're on. You can cheese the enemy if they walk through here and nearly kill them, as no champion can beat you level 1. After that, take Q level 2 and E level 3. You want to max out your Q first and E second, with W last, taking and pointing your ultimate whenever available. Your summoners are a little different on Darius. You want to take Ghost and Flash. On most top lanes, you want to take Teleport, but Darius benefits too highly from the additional movement speed you get from Ghost. And if you're enjoying the video, please subscribe below. You have an extremely strong laning phase on Darius, and your level 1 is stronger than any other enemy in the game. You can force fights level 1, provided you aren't taking too much damage from minions. You're quite strong throughout the entire laning phase, and once you hit 6, you're able to 1v2, provided you play it well. Darius is, however, vulnerable to ganks, so make sure you ward your lane just in case. Make sure to contest the enemy on nearly every CS, since you should win every fight. If you can, you want to freeze the wave at your tower. At that point, if they try and get CS, they'll be in position for you to chase them down with your Ghost. Additionally, you can get tower plates very quickly by resetting your auto attacks with your W. This means that if the enemy teleports away, you can get very strong. You're also very strong in fights around Rift Herald, so you can call your jungler up and take it. You should win an even numbered skirmish. Darius succeeds earlier in the game, so you should try and look for fights in the mid game when you have 1 or 2 item power spikes. You can excel in team fights, but it's quite difficult to play them. Darius can get kited very easily, which is why it's an offset with all the additional movement speed that you can take in your rune, summoners, and in your build. You shouldn't ever initiate a fight on Darius. He does not work well as a frontline engaged champion such as Malphite. You want to try and enter a fight from a flank or join the fight when the fight has already started. Your job is to attempt to clean up the fight, and you should look for an enemy you can easily kill with your ultimate, so you can activate your Noxian Might and apply a fully stacked passive. You can also side lane on this champ, however you are quite easy to gank, so unless you have a huge lead, it's risky to side lane. Overall, Darius is one of the strongest lane bullies in the game and snowballs like a madman. Once he can get a lead, he can make the enemy top laner useless with how far ahead you are, and you can get to the point where you can kill enemies even when you're outnumbered. Thanks for watching the guide. If you want more guides like this, subscribe to Monster Rugby Gaming YouTube channel. If it's more of me you want, you can follow me at lol_DBL on Twitter.